Hey there, it's Halo with the Armageddon Report. This here is the big news. Big news. This is tomorrow's outlook area. And as you can see, we've already got a high risk, 2 high risk areas in fact. And I believe this, I haven't looked it up yet, but I believe this might actually end up being the second high risk of the season. So that right there is pretty, big in and of itself. But what makes this even, if you want to throw historical facts around or whatever, this is the second time ever, at least according to Wikipedia, that the Storm Prediction Center has issued a high risk in advance. And the last time was 2006. So if you think about all of the crazy tornado outbreaks that happened like last year and all this time, and like this year as well, those did not have high risk days going into the event. So that gives you that's to give you a little bit of context and show you that the confidence level that something bad is going to happen tomorrow is that high that they're willing to issue the high risk a day in advance. Because generally they save it, they've got, they're staring at today's data, and that's when they generally have the confidence to issue that sort of risk. So that's tomorrow. We're going to switch back to what's going on right now because there is severe weather possible today as well. Here are the current warnings, which of course by the time you're watching this won't be current at all, surely. Oklahoma looks like a bit of Texas has a severe thunderstorm warning. So at least as of right now, just severe thunderstorm warnings as opposed to tornado warnings. So that's at least good. We've got a tornado watch in effect for, let's see if it, yes, it touches some of Texas. Apparently these counties are what it touches because it's always not as easy to tell from the polygon. I think that's what they call it, as polygons. Anyway, so that's the watch that's in effect right now, tornado watch. Here is the outlook area in general for today. Slight risk, so to give you a comparison, today there's just the yellow area. Tomorrow there's the moderate in the orange and the high as well. So today looks tame by comparison is my point. And we've also got the possibility of significant hail and a strong tornado. So let's look at the individual outlooks. California, for some reason, they're having severe weather. Yesterday, the day before that, they had some tornadoes, I don't know. So anyway, this is wind. 15% chance here, that's where your slight risk area is. 5% chance on the California coast. Hail, they've got, chance of hail out there. So in here, we've got both the 30%, as high as a 30% area, and then it looks like today it basically overlaps. The black hatched area is where the models are indicating that the hail, instead of it just being 1 inch or larger, it may well be 2 inches or larger. So that's what significant hail is defined as. And we have a significant tornado probability. Again, coast of California, 2% chance. And then in Oklahoma, as high as a 10% chance today. And once again, it overlaps the black hatched area. So the 10% area has not only the highest risk of a tornado happening at all, but it also has where the models are indicating that they may very well be strong tornadoes. And that's EF2 or greater on a scale of EF0 to EF5. So if you're not familiar with the numbers, actually, let's go over here. So this is tomorrow because this is the scarier numbers, right? So only day 1 do they break it down into tornado, wind, and hail. So day 2, day 3, day 4, it's just a generic sort of categorical risk where they give the numbers out. So 60% is the highest chance. So if you pick any of the areas, then the 60%, you just pick a random point in either of those areas, that means that there's a 60% chance that either that point or someone within a 25-mile radius of that point will see a severe weather event. So, tomorrow, to give you a little bit of context, if you happen to have heard people talking about it earlier, Nebraska and Iowa was not in the high-risk area as of the morning forecast, so they've actually expanded the moderate risk and the high-risk areas farther north, so that's one change. Now, one thing I did notice is that they seem to have dropped back the language about, like, tornado outbreaks. They've, cooled it down a little bit, so that might mean that maybe we're looking at hopefully not a tornado outbreak and maybe just, a whole bunch of, really damaging winds and damaging hail, of course, and tornadoes here and there. So that's where you absolutely want to pay attention tomorrow when they will break it down into tornado, wind, hail. And of course, the closer we get to the event, the more they know about what it looks like is going to happen. But anyway, so maybe that might be good news that they've scaled it back a little bit, at least on the wording. It doesn't sound quite sky is falling as of the last outlook, but like I said, they did expand it northward with the moderate and the high-risk areas. So, also, we've got the black hatched area. So that means significant weather probabilities, and of course, since they don't break it down into tornado, wind, hail on day 2, we don't officially know, but it sounds like strong tornadoes are possible. So that would be the so-called significant tornado, and then significant hail. That they don't call it strong hail, it's significant hail. Anyway, so the 2-inch or larger. Now, if they do have significant wind, that would be 75 miles per hour and greater, as opposed to just 58 miles per hour greater. And straight line winds can do quite massive damage on their own. And the other fun thing, if you want to call it that, about winds is they tend to affect much, much larger areas than, just a tornado. Tornadoes are scary, extremely scary, of course, to most of us, except for those of us who chase. And then, but winds. Winds, they just howl a lot, which is scary in itself. But anyway, I don't know. Winds, the point is, they can do damage on their own. If you're in a mobile home, you should really probably be making plans to not be in it tomorrow. Hang out with friends, especially if they've got a basement. Maybe even just hang out at like the local grocery store. But of course, it'd be better to probably be in a smaller building. And a basement. If the building has a basement, even better. Yeah, so day 3, it moves farther east, and we've got 2 slight risk areas. So again, to compare, Saturday, they've got the high risk and a moderate risk as well, and then day 3, at least as of now, just having the slight risk. So, day 3 also has a significant area. So, 30% chance as high as, and then in the black hatched areas, the possibility of, depending on what it gets broken down to, it could be significant winds, significant hails, or strong tornadoes. Day 4 through 8 finally does not have anything on it. However, what they're using is the words predictability too low. The 2 options you'll see are generally probability too low and predictability too low. And the difference is, that means predictability too low is that, at least my understanding, there is severe weather predicted, but the models are not yet in agreement enough for them to actually say, okay, we think it's going to be this area. So there's enough disagreement about where the severe weather event is going to happen that they're not going to put it on the map. As compared to Saturday, they have been predicting Saturday for quite some time. I think it might have been like day 7 or day 6. That's how far out they've been predicting Saturday to be a bad day. So yeah, today, here's your threat area, and you should absolutely pay attention. Get yourself a weather radio, not a severe weather radio. They just call it a weather radio if you don't already own one. And then absolutely, if you're in any of the affected areas tomorrow, you definitely need to have a weather radio. You need to make sure it works. You should probably have access to just normal radio. You should have access to TV. At least 2 sources, I'd say, of severe weather information in case one of them fails. I don't know, because that can happen. Like the National Weather Service, the radio, sometimes you read about, like if a bad storm comes through, it might knock out the antenna. And, it might lose power itself. I don't know. They probably got backup power. But anyway, the point is you should have, for tomorrow, at least 2 sources of severe weather information, because it is potentially going to be a very bad day. So that's it for me today. I hope they're just completely wrong and nothing happens. But given how far out this has been predicted, and given the, confidence, the markers, the human factors that I'm seeing, it's sounding like tomorrow could potentially be very bad. So, stay safe out there. If you have to, just hop on a plane and, you can't even go to California now. You need to go to Canada. Go to Canada and escape the tornadoes tomorrow. That's my unofficial, horrible advice.